The story takes place during my last few semesters of college, during spring break. A group of friends and I decided that we should go on a road trip to Utah and camp under the stars. It was a beautiful idea, and one of those that, if it was a normal experience, I would have definitely done it again. The drive came up and went very quickly, but we needed special permission to get to the site that we had read about, and the only way to do that was to talk to the elders of the Navajo tribe and to receive a blessing to keep us safe out in the untamed wilderness. This process took the longest, and we were issued warnings that we should never have taken lightly. That was weird, like really weird, my friend Jackson said. Let's wait to talk about this until we get to the camp. Distance, you know, I said, gesturing towards the camp of people that were just about a few yards away from us. Our group included both our girlfriends, Jasmine and Charlie. They were also shucking up about how odd the ceremony we had gone through really was. I put my hand on the back of Charlie's neck. She jumped, but then relaxed when I leaned forward to give her a kiss on her head. It was supposed to be a blessing. We should feel lucky, right? Let's get to the campsite and set up for dinner, I said to the group. I was spooked too, but as ever, there should be somebody that's grounded in the camp. I smiled to everyone, exerting a type of pressure I didn't know I was capable of. Everyone's edge seemingly died by the time that we reached to the portion of this desert we wanted. We set up 2 tents and got dinner going. The drinking started not soon after, and all of us found ourselves drunk and in awe of the setting sun. I raised my bottle up with my arm around Charlie and spoke aloud. To whatever we all did to deserve what we have. I met eyes with Charlie and planted a tipsy kiss on her lips. Everything up till this point felt like a dream, of course, that came to an end when Jackson approached me after the last of our sunlight had gone away and we were surrounded by the desert and darkness. I still feel unsteady about this whole ritual thing they did, Jackson said, meeting my eyes with his. Jackson was so stressed he could hardly stay still. So I take it that you don't want to do scary stories tonight. I joked, taking another drink out of the cooler. I just feel like we're being watched, man, Jackson said flatly. I sighed. What do you want to do? Do you want all of us to just cancel the trip and leave and pack all of our stuff up and go to a motel for the night? I asked. I trusted Jackson, and he saved my life more than I could count, so I was willing to put trust in him. If our campsite is still here in the morning, I won't mind staying. It would mean that I was in the wrong, and I'll buy you and Charlie dinner, as an I'm sorry for wasting your time kind of thing. Jackson's eyes pleaded just as hard as his words did. Let's do it, I said, placing my drink into the sand. I'm coming back for that. The girls weren't happy at all. They were sloppy drunk and upset that Jackson wanted to leave, but I took the lead and let the charisma take the wheel. I exerted the same carefree pressure and attacked the situation with grace, calming the girls down. The fear in Jackson, though, was deep. Something during the ritual had really spooked him. We had made the hour drive back into town. Confused, the girls were agitated, and they didn't understand why we had to leave, but they fell asleep and left Jackson and I to drive. It was the words they used, man, Jackson trailed. What do you mean, man? I just feel off. I feel like I wasn't a blessing. This concerned me. I did some research on Native American tribes in the area, and I didn't get far. Secrets are how these cultures survive. It's something I remember reading. I let out a sigh as we pulled off the highway and into a motel with vacancies. Jackson and I bought separate rooms and carried our women respectively into them. Charlie and I slept fine, but Jasmine, on the other hand, was irritable the whole morning. Charlie talked to her on our drive back in whispers. Apparently, Jasmine spent the later half of the night trying to ward off Jackson's continuous panic attacks. Whatever feeling he had really gotten to him. The drive was tense, but when we arrived to that campsite, everything was fine. Everything we left there was virtually untouched. Our activities continued as they would. We sang, we goofed off, drank liquor, ate, and did other stuff. It was the trip that we had dreamed about, until I stumbled across the beer I had left. The beer was empty, and on the top part of the bottle looked chewed up at the top. I picked it up and diagnosed it without the others noticing. I didn't want Jackson to freak out once more, but now my guard was up, and I felt the eerie feeling of being watched. It was intense, and the panic attacks he experienced had a real reason. I hid the feeling as long as I could, but with dusk approaching again, I elected to pull Jackson off to the side, under the guise of bro talk. It's something deep, I told the girls. What up, man? Jackson asked. I believe every single word you said, and I think we should leave tomorrow morning. I also think that we need to convince the girls to sleep with us, all in one tent, I said with my eyes wearing, meeting his. How? What happened? You remember that bottle that I put down? The one from last night? Yeah. Oh, fuck, man. Jackson gritted his teeth. You have any idea what it might be? I nodded and pointed to the ground and wrote the name, Skinwalker, in the sand. Before erasing the word, I said, we can't talk about it. They're attracted to it. We both nodded. Neither of us knew how to handle the situation that we found ourselves in. When we made it back to the campsite, neither of the girls could be found, and Jackson and I lost it, shouting for our women to come back. Needless to say, we were stressed. Jackson was 2 steps away from getting the revolver out of the car when the girls made their appearance. What's wrong, guys? Why are you guys stressing so hard? The two asked separately. I took a deep breath to just clear my head. Jackson and I were spooked, and you guys were nowhere to be found at all. I just responded and he nodded, making eye contact with me. There were things that I noticed immediately when the girls came back. Charlie was almost a full 2 inches taller, and her legs looked disproportionate. Charlie's legs were skinnier, and she looked lankier, but neither of those things were something noticed first. What I noticed first were her eyes, how they were animalistic. It felt like they saw me as prey, and they pierced right through me. Shivers rolled down my spine and affected me throughout my whole body. I pulled out of my fear response with Charlie's hand on my shoulder. I felt my heart skip a beat, but I had to play it off like nothing was wrong. I needed to tell Jackson what I thought. I stood and gave Charlie a hug. You want a beer? I asked. I'd like that, she responded. I turned away and my eyes welled up in tears. The realization came that my Charlie was most likely dead, and I coughed, almost unable to hold back my rage and my despair. Jackson, I hollered and gestured him over to the cooler, away from the girls. He looked at me, and almost instantly, he recognized the pain that was hidden behind my hostility put on facade. He made his way over to me and placed his hand on my shoulder, just as the thing did a few moments ago. A single tear rolled down my cheek as I moved his hand away. Don't, I gritted my teeth. We need to leave, now, and without Charlie, I whispered. His eyes narrowed, and he stared me down before we spoke. I don't know what realization you came to, but I'll trust you as you trusted me. I'll start making prep to leave. We can leave the site built, but I'll grab the important things and toss them into the truck, he whispered. We both nodded, and from that point on, I kept Charlie away from the truck. It was going well in the right context. Jackson got his girl drunk enough to sleep, and he put her in the truck and grabbed my gun, hiding it in his clothes. I did my job too, keeping the creature away from those other two. I asked her if she wanted another drink, and what she responded positively to. Charlie never got that drink. I gave Jackson the signal to get into the truck, and we both got in stressfully and started on our way out of this fucking wasteland that would be our deathbed. I floored it, We were going over 100 in seconds, but from my rear view, I saw the body of my girlfriend take the mangled form of a coyote and begin to chase down the vehicle. Fuck, come on, I wheezed. Jackson looked behind and saw what I had seen, and his anxiety spiked. He began to breathe heavily, and he pulled out the gun from his clothes, gripping it, making his knuckles white. What I assumed to be a skinwalker was keeping pace with our car, and our escape seemed to be impossible. It was gaining on us. This thing was performing an impossible feat, and it looked like we weren't gonna make it to the end of this reservation. However, just over 2 football field lengths away from the sign that marked the edge of the protected land, the coyote form vanished. And when it did, something popped our rear tire, and the car began to lose control. I tried to stop, but we slid sideways and the car flipped. The impact knocked me out. By the time I came to, I was in so much pain that crawling from the wreckage was enough to make me cry out in pain. Coughing, I tried to push myself up just to get onto my feet once out. I looked around and my gun was nowhere to be found, and neither were the rest of the group. I saw a puddle of blood behind the vehicle that I refused to go and investigate, and the horrible sound that I heard all around me made me feel like I was in a nightmare. I heard a broken imitation of Charlie's voice, and a gross, distorted, tearing noise. I can only assume what that was. I shuffled towards the end of my hell, refusing to look back. I was traumatized already. There was nothing I wanted to do or to see. I even left the gun behind. My ankle and arm were definitely broken. I used the pain to push myself forward. I stumbled, and the noises weren't stopping. They were getting closer, not footsteps, but they were verbal, distorted screams and coos. I would have shot myself had I brought the gun with me, but I made it off of the protected land and crumbled to the ground. In a daze, I looked back behind me and saw something I'll never forget. What I saw was this slick, gray thing peel my dead girlfriend's skin off and run off into the distance under the moonlight, mocking me, laughing and screaming and using my... This is the last I'll speak of this, and I'll never go anywhere near that native land, ever again. Thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you would like to see more creepypastas and stuff like this on the channel, make sure to let me know down in the comment section. So make sure to like, comment, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We're doing nothing but growing. I've got a lot of content, a lot more coming. So also make sure to check out the links in the description as well, like Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. And the channel members and the Gmail, stuff like that, yada yada. But with that being said, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one.